All right.
Welcome. Another episode of Runners Roundtable. We're in season 4. It's Conversations with Runners. And I am talking to different female runners within our community about the things they're doing with running for themselves and then how they're making our running community better. And I'm so excited to have Cindy Smith with us here today. Cindy, I don't even know how I found out about you, but I know I've got your stickers everywhere. I know there was some connection there. So before we get into what the stickers are and how you came to that, tell us about yourself and how you got started with running.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to speak with you. I'm excited for this podcast. So I'm Cindy Smith. I am owner and creator and head designer of Pen and Paces. We are a eye-catching design products a company that empowers women in running. I am a new mom of a 7-month-old boy, a runner, and also a former tech executive in Silicon Valley, but now based in Massachusetts. And to answer your question, how I got started in running. So I was not very athletic in school. In fact, like my parents were all about academics. Athletics was a distraction to academics. So I was never really encouraged to do much sports. But after graduating college, I moved out to California and started working, starting my career. And I quickly realized that I was very much driven by personal development and personal growth, really needing to like challenges and goals to reach, and very, achievement oriented. So once I started my career, I quickly realized like my job wasn't providing that for me. So I felt very like stuck. I was looking for something, an outlet where I could actually feed that personal growth. And I found running. And before that, I like literally could not run more than one city block before getting winded. And so it was really a challenge for me. I was like, first I'll do a quarter mile, then a half mile, then 1 mile. And slowly but surely, I worked my way up to my first half marathon in 2007. And running really filled me up in terms of that personal growth and giving me those goals to strive for. And that's where it started. And I just fell in love with running.
And now you're training for the Chicago Marathon, right?
Yes,
How is
yeah.
that going? How are you feeling with all of that? What's going on there?
Yeah, so I've run 4 marathons before, but I've taken a big break. So it's been about 11 or 12 years now since my last marathon. Due to various reasons, life and, I went back to school and career and, moving, all that stuff, and the pandemic, I wasn't able to actually run a marathon. But now I'm really trying to get to that start line in October for Chicago. But so far, it's I just forgot how involved it is to train for a marathon. My goodness, the time, the scheduling, the commitment, and some days you just wake up and you just don't want to do anything, let alone run double-digit miles. So it's been a challenge. I would say also being a new mom, it's, a new dimension of logistics with the baby and, making sure my husband's okay. And but it's now 6 more weeks till Chicago. And I did my longest run yet, but I think it's 15 and a half miles last weekend. And I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling good. And I'm just hoping not to get sick in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah. Is your son in daycare or, anything? That's always for me. I'm confident I will not get sick, but I'm not confident my children will not bring something home by accident. Like that for me, I usually go into like a hunker down mode 2 weeks before a race where I'm like, nope, I'm not going out. Don't invite me out for dinner.
Yes,
Don't ask me to do anything that's outside of my routine. No. Um,
absolutely.
so, so yeah, I totally understand that because it's so much time. I think feel like before. Now I personally have changed my approach to training for marathons, and now I feel so much more manageable. There was definitely a period of time for me where training for a marathon felt like an added job. Like it was just another thing because there is so much. And I've just learned the importance of balance, like bringing in a lot of balance. And you're a new mom, I'm a mom. That's really hard to do. Like well, this Saturday, it was better. I can promise you that as the children get older, certain things get better. So
That's good to know.
yeah. So like this past Saturday, I did my long run, but then my husband went out for the day with the kids. So I'm like, oh, I can just hang out at home. That's so nice. Where when they were younger, there wasn't any of that. There was like almost this guilt of being absent because I was running or because I needed to rest or take a nap or whatever. The older you get, it's like, fine. It's like, okay, you know what? They're going to be okay. So I'm so
Absolutely.
excited for you to kind of experience a marathon now as a new mom. And I hope you don't get sick either. But
I
if
know.
you know, you'll manage it, right? Like you'll figure it out. So tell us how you got running came before pen and paces.
Yes,
Right.
running did come before pen and paces. The venture into pen and paces is another kind of attempt for me to grow in different ways. I was kind of searching for another way to gain a new skill, learn something new. And, I landed on something artistic because, again, when I was growing up, I was not very artistic. I was, kind of pushed towards kind of the math and sciences. And that's kind of where my parents really focused on. But then I was like curious about this thing where like it's people were making beautiful things and drawing and creating and making things, and I was like, how come I can't do that, like, or how come I haven't done that? And so it just started me with me doing hand lettering and calligraphy because I had this like like I had an interest in kind of like pens and and handwriting and just the beauty of paper and notebooks and things. So that's where I gravitated towards. So I actually started doing wedding invitations and place cards for weddings. And that's where I just, kind of put myself out there on Etsy. And I started an Instagram. And then I just started doing, envelopes for brides and place cards for the event itself. And it was really rewarding because people came to me. I was like, your handwriting is so pretty. And I was like, oh, I'm just, I'm experimenting here. So it's really a way for me to, again, do more self-improvement and see where I can improve a skill.
So what was your first business name with this venture?
Yeah, it was actually called Smitty Lettering. Smitty because my last name, my married name was Smith. And then I was like, oh, it's a lettering business. And so Smitty Lettering, it sounds kind of cute. And that's where I started.
I love that. I love hearing the origin story because that's not what I thought.
Yeah, right?
Right? I'm like, wait, I know you as pen and paces. So how did you go from Smitty lettering to pen and paces?
Yeah, so after like a year or two doing weddings, I realized how saturated the market is, and there's so many providers of calligraphy and wedding invitations. I wanted something that could differentiate myself. And I kind of sat down for a couple of weeks and thought about like, where is my interest lie? What does the market say in terms of where's there a gap? And I was thinking about what I really was interested in, and of course, running came up. It was something that I was doing for stress relief. It was something I was doing on weekends with friends on long runs and training runs. And so I was like, what if I combine those two things? It would be just like the perfect, venture for me. And so that's what I did. I said, okay, well, were there any kind of really design focused running products out there, and I found a few things but nothing in my vision. And so I said, hey, might as well take a shot and combine my love of running and my love of design and calligraphy and art, and put them together and see where it goes. And so I actually remember sitting down with some of my closest friends during the pandemic, because that's, we didn't have much to do, and say, hey, what's a good business name? And we had like lists of names and different things, and Pen and Paces came up, and I loved it. And my friend Kristen was like, yes, let's go with it. And so that's how Pen and Paces was born. And it just started with a few designs that were just more colorful than things that were out there, more focused on running related kind of puns and related, running related cards and stickers.
So you started off, do you remember which was your, I'm gonna really pick at your brain right now and see what your memory is like. Do you remember which is the first official Pen and Paces item you sold?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I have it right here too. So it is by far still my most popular design. But it's this heart run sticker.
I have that one.
Yeah. So this was born out of me loving just like very little details about everything. And I said, one day during the pandemic, again, I was like, hey, like, why can't I just draw like little icons of running related things and put it on the sticker? And that's what I did. And it became really one of my, most popular designs.
Yeah, that's, again, I don't remember how I found you. I feel like it's that someone posted your stickers on Instagram and I followed the link and I was like, wait, that's cool. Or there was somewhere there. And then I bought, oh my gosh, it was one of the packs that you had on Etsy. And I was like, I'm going to do that. And I think at some point I even bought a mystery pack from you, which was so awesome because, when you buy a mystery pack, you're like, I don't know what I'm going to get. But in my mystery pack, you actually sent me, because I'm based in Florida, you sent me the Florida sticker. And I'm like, oh, I felt like you actually paid attention to the person who was ordering from you and didn't just like throw things together and sent them off. So that was kind of, again, I've made a few purchases, but that was one that I guess it made me realize that there's a real human who cares about what she's doing behind the products.
Yeah.
How do you, I guess, can you just walk us through your creative process? How are you, how do you come up with the ideas? And I'll say this now so that people know, because you've gone from stickers to, and again, I'm a big fan of these, but your custom portraits to clothing now.
Yeah.
So what has been your creative process? Where do you come up with the ideas for your stickers and for the products? I mean, you even have the name kit as well. So how have you come up with all of this stuff? Do you think, like, does this happen while you're running? You're thinking of these ideas, like where in the busyness of your life do you find that space to create what you're doing?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great question. And I think there's a lot of different ways I come up with ideas. The primary, way and reason why I focus my time on things like stickers and stationery is because I really just love stationery. And it's something, again, when I was growing up, I would spend my free time going to these shops. I grew up in New York City, Chinatown. And it was very popular to have stationery stores in Chinatown they offered all things like Hello Kitty and like these Korean stationery. And it was just something like me and my friends loved to like collect and just adore. And, it ended up being useful in ways where if you needed stationery, but just as something that is as a hobby to collect. And, as you grow up, you're like, oh, that's just something you did as a kid. But it stayed with me. Like even through my career, I would just get really pretty notebooks and, give cards to friends because I just loved buying cards and giving cards and things like that. And so I would say my inspiration comes from, Sanrio when I was a kid, but also I love going to, these boutique shops that other makers provide their products at and sell their products at, boutiques in downtowns in different cities and things like that. And I am so inspired by these makers because they are putting their, own creativity into products. And that's kind of what inspires me. It's just like from my running to my job to things that I just am visually attracted to. Those are all my inspirations, right? And so I would say it's a combination of everything in my life, but primarily running. As you know, when you're running, you're just kind of by yourself and you're thinking, you have a lot of time to think. And so that's when things come to me in terms of, what's impacting me today? Is this hard run? Am I, having a hard time, in my job right now? Am I, what are the things that really bring me joy? And is it flowers? Is it, different types of art? Is it, just people working really hard? Those are all the inspirations that come to me during all parts of life, maybe in the shower or during a run, etc. I also follow a lot of like non-running makers, and there's just a ton of people who are so creative, and people who have just created things around everyday items that people love, like boba tea or dumplings or things like that. And I'm like, oh wow, like if these people can bring products to life that are so cute and thoughtful, I would love to do that too. So that's where my inspiration comes from.
Have you ever had someone take one of your designs and pass it off as their own?
I not. I think not directly. Art is so funny, and I've learned this. Is like, you don't own a concept. You own your piece of art. But if you like, for instance, like I do running maps, and there's other people who do running maps in their own vision, and I wouldn't say that's copying. It's just a concept that you take and make it your own. And I think that I haven't had somebody just completely take my art and just say it's theirs, but I've seen people take concepts and make it their own, which I absolutely welcome.
Yeah, I asked that because there's someone that I follow, and it just came up for me because now you have your sweater that's coming out.
Yeah.
And before we got on here, like I think you posted this morning a little video of the sweater, or not pictures of the sweater and the details of it. And there's someone else that I follow, and she launched a whole sweater. She launched the sweater to different fields. She's in like healing stuff.
Okay.
And she launched the sweater. And then a few days later, there was another email that went out to her list, and she addressed the fact that someone else had copied the design.
Oh.
Like detail for detail for detail. And she had to clarify that, like, this is my design. And if you're going to get it, like, this is me. I created it for you. You purchasing it are supporting me. So I was just curious if you've ever had that experience, because again, it says 26.2. And then on the set, it says strong.
Run strong on the
Run
wrist.
strong. So I'm like, wait, that is like very specific. That's a specific little detail.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious how you would handle something like that.
Absolutely.
I hope you don't have to. I hope you don't have to. And I'm knocking on.
I hope I don't have to. I think it is unfortunately a reality of something we need to think about as makers, because sweatshirts and stickers. It's not something that's so proprietary that people can't just copy it. It's not, it doesn't have that high of a bar. It's not like software or technology. And that's something I am very aware about. And so I think I need to just, I need to just continue creating and being creative and unique. And if there are things that kind of raise the bar of being, kind of patented or anything like that, I would be open to exploring. But it is an industry where, it's so easy to copy and so easy to kind of do something just slightly different. And it's considered unique. So I don't try to make too much of it. I think that if it does happen to me, I would take it like case by case. I know Etsy has like a kind of a arbitration type of process where they say, you have to take your listing down, et cetera, and then you have to talk to the person directly. So, I'd be open to the conversation, et cetera. But, it is an industry where it is very hard to protect, your own work.
Yeah, I was just curious about that. I don't mean to throw that out there.
No, this is really
I was
super
just really, I
interesting.
was so curious. Do you feel like you're constantly creating, or is there ever like a lull, like you launch a product and then you just chill out, or is your brain always in a state of trying to follow your inspiration?
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised about this. I thought I would have, like an equivalent of like an artist block or a writer's block on this, but is kind of testament to my interest and my passion in this space. But I'm constantly having ideas. Like I just like randomly have ideas of like what to offer, different products, different designs, and like I almost find myself not having enough time to bring these ideas into fruition. And so I am really blessed in that sense because it keeps me really interested in this space. And, I never know what people are interested in it as well. Like, am I interested in it only, or is the population of runners going to be interested in it? And so I am in a constant flow of like, always having a notebook where I write down the ideas that I have, and some of them, never will see the day of light. But I'm hoping that as I grow the business and grow my customer base, I will be able to create more products and more designs.
Speaking of growth, right? Because you started off with stickers and now you're expanding. How do you see Pen and Paces continuing to grow?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love for Pen and Paces to be a like top of mind brand for women in running. Where I would love to go to an expo and see people with my sweatshirts and stickers on their water bottles and be like, that's a Pen and Paces product. And I think that's kind of my ultimate goal and vision. And I would love to offer just things that are very relevant to running. There's so many things that out there that I could do, right? I could do random, shirts and things like that. But I want to be very intentional with the products I come out with that are, useful to runners, motivational to runners, as well as very eye-catching and delightful to look at. And so that's kind of where my vision is right now for Pen and Paces.
Speaking of expos, how was that experience? Because you did an expo recently. Was that the first like Pen and Paces official event out in the community in that way? And
yes,
how was it for you? What was your experience? What did you learn from that?
yes. So earlier this month, I was a vendor at the Falmouth Road Race. So I was very excited because it was about 10,000 runners that did it. And I didn't know that. And I recently moved to Massachusetts, and, aside from the Boston Marathon, this is like a really big deal. And so I learned even a lot about the race itself. A lot of elites were there. And so I was like super excited to be part of that. And so I had never done anything like that before. I've done like little pop-up shops, but because my customer base are runners, I was like, I should be at expos. And so I reached out to the expo manager, and there's a fee that I have to pay. So I was an investment for me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put myself out there, get outside of my comfort zone. There was a lot to prepare, so that's something that I learned. I had to bring my own tent, my own table, all my products, and I wanted to look professional, so I had a banner. So it was just a lot to prepare. I must have prepared for like a month, because I was like, I need to be out there and getting my name out there, and as it's me, my brand, so I need to be very extroverted.
Yeah.
And I'm normally pretty introverted, so I was like really hyping myself up to be, talking to people and making sure to describe my designs and putting all my stickers and products out there. So I learned a ton about prepping for the expo. And then, what is the quote? Like, the best laid plans always go awry.
Yeah.
So the weekend comes up and there was a tornado warning in my area, and impacting the entire area. It was raining. There's like hail warnings, and so I'm like, I think I should be there. And it's a 2-day expo, so I was like, okay, should I go? Should I just go and see who shows up? I'm like, and it's outdoors, so all my stuff, like, if it like flying everywhere. I was like, okay, I think there are some signs that it's just not meant to be the first day. So I talked to my husband, and he's like, just stay home. Like, it's probably best for you stress wise. Plus, you can spend time with the family, etc. So I was like, okay, I won't go the first day, but I was kind of bummed because I was prepping for this for a month. I wanted to get out there in front of customers, talking to people. So I was just kind of bummed. And then the next day was like perfect weather. So I was like, okay, I'm ready now. I'm going out there to the Falmouth Road Race. And I was talking to the expo managers, and they said more than half the people haven't picked up their bibs yet. So it's going to be a good turnout. So I set up my booth, and it was really great to talk to people and again, I haven't never done this before. It's mostly done online. I'm mostly talking to people over email. And so it was great to see the reactions to my designs. I had my bib kits out there, and people reacted to that. And I have some yet to be launched products that people really liked as well. So overall, it was a great learning in terms of getting feedback for my products, as well as just prepping for something that, just on the day of, you never know how it would turn out. So, I think my expectations had to be calibrated.
Yeah. And it's also because you're offering items, I'm sure just thinking about how much should you bring, right? Like how much of everything should you bring so that there is enough, but then also you want to go home with less stuff. Like, I'm sure that was an interesting calculation for you as well, but it's also really great to go and meet people and have them get to know you. I know for me personally, as a shopper, as a buyer, I'm more likely to buy stuff from companies where the owner or the creator is out there, and I'm more likely to stay loyal to that particular company once I've met the person, because it's like, oh yes, like, yes, here is this design, here's this thing, but again, there's a real life person behind that is like, I mean, when people walk away with the sticker of yours or whatever it is of yours, they're walking away with a piece of you. And that's really cool, right? Like, that is really, really cool. So we have this, you do this expo. Are you planning on doing more expos? Is that one way in which you want to grow as a business?
I do. I think I want to do it selectively, only because traveling and shipping and carrying all the products is really taxing, especially as a new mom. I want to selectively pick the places I want to go to. And I think that I do want to grow in that sense because, again, like the feedback is so rewarding and impactful and beneficial to the business. But I don't think I would do like a ton. Maybe like a couple a year would be my goal on expos.
How do you handle setbacks in your business? Because and this is me just asking from one solopreneur. I don't know if you're a solopreneur, but I'm a one-woman show here. And yes, I have support, but a lot of the things that I do, that I create, that I put out there, like, it's me. Like, I'm the one that's doing it all and trying to fit it all. And because it's just me, I personally sometimes feel just really lonely in the process of like trying to figure it out, trying to pick myself back up when things don't go as planned, or trying to give myself grace when I have to pivot. So how do you handle it? Because
Absolutely.
it's part of it. It's like I tell my kids all the time when they see what I'm doing and the odd hours that I work. And like, for example, we had I spent the summer on the west coast of Florida with my daughters. And there was one day that was towards the end of our time there. And I really tried to focus on just being with them and kind of being present, savoring those last few days of summer. And at one point during the day, my oldest daughter was like, "Don't you have work to do today?" And I'm like, "I do, but I'm going to wait till later to do it. I want to enjoy my time with you." So later in the day, and this is just so silly, and I know part of it is boundaries, but later in the day, I took my kids to go get ice cream. And while we were in line to get ice cream, I was on my phone, like responding to emails and doing stuff. And she's like, "Really? You're working now?" And I'm like, what happens when you like work for yourself and like that's it? Like sometimes the work happens in really weird pockets of time, or there are opportunities that you have to say no to, or you have to say yes to, or you have to be really quick with turnaround. So how do you handle the ups and downs of your business?
Absolutely. I think you and I really started talking when I was on a really low in my business. A quick story, I was really hoping to collaborate with this really big brand. And it was something that would have like made my year and in every dimension, like, creatively, like financially, etc. And, without going too much detail, it just didn't pan out. And I was just so bummed. I was really bummed. I was like, kind of crawl under like my covers kind of bummed. And it was just like a low because, I'm building this business. It would have like really helped me out. It would have like really propelled me kind of emotionally and like motivationally. And so and it just didn't work out, and we kind of separated our ways. And it was just a time where I was just like, how am I going to like get past this? And a couple of ways that I did looking back is like, I reached out to my community. I posted on Instagram saying, "Hey, I'm being vulnerable here. Like this was like a huge loss for me, and like I just need some support." And like the running community is amazing, as you know. Like they are just so supportive. People I don't even know. Like I just reached out and was like, "Hey, keep going. I love your work. Just keep going. Something will come up. Like, this just is meant to be. Like, and something better will come along." And some, it ranged from people who like never talked to me to people who I idolize in terms of other businesses. And I was like, wow, amazing. Like it was even better for me because I'm building this community and network of people who, support me in ways that I didn't even know. As well as, I also kind of really, really reflected on why I'm doing this business. And the reason is because I want to grow, I want to feel uncomfortable. There's a lesson that I learned throughout my career is like, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing and you're not pushing yourself enough. Right. And so I was like, okay, well, I have to be in these vulnerable positions where I might get rejected and I might feel really crappy. And so I said, okay, I want to be growing. I want to be learning new things. I want to be creating. And this is what it means to create your own business. And so I said, okay, that's my why. I will hold on to that deeply and I will push through and just continue creating. And there are going to be more times where it's going to be incredibly hard. I might not want to do it that day. There's going to be nights where you're just randomly responding to emails and, creating content and things like that. You're like, why am I doing this? It's because I want to be creating. I want to be putting my designs out there. I want people to love my stuff. And that's going to be what I continue to go back to.
Yeah, the creative process has no timeline. And as someone who is creative in a different way than you, but definitely very creative, it is something that I love about myself, but that also frustrates the heck out of me because I'm like, man, why couldn't this creativity strike when my kids were at school and I had like a big gap of time? Why does it have to strike while we're at dinner? And then for me, the creativity comes and it's almost feverish for me, where it's like, wait, no. I need to follow every single thread of this idea. Like I can't walk away. I need to follow it. So I love that you share that, because as someone who's, on the outside watching you, I've seen you go from, okay, there's kind of disappointment and heartbreak there. But then you've also, and I bring up this whole creativity stuff because I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the creativity that you had to work with that brand wasn't wasted. Like, you're doing something with it. And I'm going to assume that now that you're using that creative, you also probably have a little more ownership or control of how
Yeah.
you're using it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And some things that came out of the running community was saying, they said to me, something better is going to come along. And it really has, looking back. And the couple of things that come to mind is like, I was so upset. I just wanted to channel my energy to saying, okay, what's the next step? What's the next products? And, I had these designs in my head I was going to use, and those designs became stickers and cards, and now it's a sweatshirt. And I'm like, wow, like that became of that whole ordeal. And it would have never been that if, that other path was taken. And then also the bib kits actually came out of that, because I said, hey, what is the product that, I can create that would be useful for runners on their races and bring joy to them, because, that's what running is for. And so actually, that all that creative energy, I just channeled it into new products and new ways of offering my customers things that, they might find joyful or useful.
I love that. There is this saying that I tell myself often: rejection is protection and rejection is redirection.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
anytime something like that happens where it's a no, or it falls apart, or it falls away, I don't know, however we want to put it, because there's a lot of ourselves that get put into these businesses, and it's really hard to not take that no personally, and to, I guess, like transmute that no into something that is really empowering for you as the business owner and as the creator. So I love that. And honestly, again, rejection is protection. And I feel like from what you shared, one of the big lessons of all of this is maybe even just a confirmation that you are so incredibly supported by the running community that you are serving, and that people are here for what you got. And if that brand said no, it's because that brand really wasn't the best fit for you right now.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
So your brand is very much so focused on empowering women. How did you get to that, right? We've got, obviously, running is a massive industry. There's just a lot. There's a lot in there. What brought you to wanting to create products specifically for women and specifically to empower women?
Yeah. Most of it is because of personal experience. I think that for me, I had all these goals of trying to have personal growth in many dimensions, but I also had a side of me that suffered from imposter syndrome. And there's a study out there that says, and it's an independent study that says, a survey of over 4,000 women, over 53% said they suffer from imposter syndrome. And I said, that's me. And why is that? Is there's no real reason. No one's telling you can't do something. Like anybody could go and learn a new technology or a new skill like art or writing and things like that. But for some reason, women suffer more from holding themselves back. And I resonated with that, and I think that that's why I said, hey. Why can't I create a company that also empowers women like me to achieve their biggest goals, and whether it's to learn something new, or run a race, or do a new project. And so that's where I landed with that mission, because I wanted to have other women look at my products and say, hey, I can do this, right? Or if they're trying to achieve something like a marathon or half marathon or 5K or 10K, they can do it. And these products can help them along the way and bring some joy and some motivation throughout that journey.
Yeah. And I also want to add that your products aren't just for runners. I know I've bought stickers from you, and usually what I do is whenever I send someone a card or a thank you card, like I always drop a sticker in there. So I'm one of those people who collects stickers, because I'm like, someday someone is going to want this sticker. So I actually have, next to my desk there, I have a pouch. It's probably has almost like 100 stickers in there. Because whenever I see stickers that I love, so I know, like with your stickers, you've definitely have created some stickers that, because yes, we're talking about running, but running is also a real big metaphor for life. So you definitely have some stickers that I've sent to friends that I'm like, you're not a runner, it's okay, but you're going to understand and you're going to look at it and you're going to appreciate it. So the question I have there is, well, first of all, because I'm going to go back, I'm going to pull myself back. Can you talk to us about your stickers? Because your stickers are, they can go on water bottles and they take a beating.
Yes.
So how did you come to that, right? Because you could have, gotten sticker paper, I guess. I don't know what the process is for creating stickers. And I'm going to assume that the way you create your stickers, the material you use, is probably a more expensive route to making stickers. So how did you decide on that? Of like, these are the stickers I'm going to make. This is the material I'm going to use. This is the quality that I'm trying to create.
Yeah. Stickers, are again, a commodity, right? You can find stickers anywhere. Like it's more, I think for me, based on the design themselves, right? And I wanted to focus my time on the design and the quality. And so first of all, I create the design that I want to put on a sticker. And you're right, it's not just running. There are certainly a lot of running based ones, but there's a lot of empowering, messaging in a lot of my other stickers as well that could be applied to any situation in life. And so the design comes first. And then, yes, I do want a product that people can put on their water bottles that could last for a long time, go in a dishwasher, take a beating on their runs, and still be there. And so I did try kind of doing it on my own on like a Cricut and sticker paper, but ultimately those stickers weren't very durable. And also I wasn't spending my time doing the design when I'm producing and cutting stickers. And so I actually focus on the design, and then I outsource up the printing of the stickers so that they can really provide, kind of tear-proof, waterproof products with my designs on them.
Which is your personal favorite design?
Oh, that's like asking me which my favorite child is.
But you only have one right now, right?
I know. I would say, oh, okay. I'm just looking at my collection right here. Okay. If I have to pick one, okay. It is not necessarily a running one again, but it's this one that says, never forget how wildly capable you are. And this is probably my second most popular design, and I love it because I know everybody just needs that sometimes, needs to know that, when you're not feeling your best or you're not having the best day, it doesn't mean you're not capable. You are very capable. You don't know how capable you are, actually. So most people underestimate themselves. I certainly did. And I think it just speaks to, kind of your growth and your potential. And you just, should just keep going.
Yeah, I love that you shared that one, because that's actually one that I had gotten at some point, and I had a friend who moved away, and that was did she move, or was it a transition? I don't know. My friends are all leaving Miami and it breaks my heart. So I'm like, was it a move? Was it a transition? But I know I sent that to someone who was going through a transition in their life. And I'm like, again, it's that of, okay, yes, I bought it from Pen and Paces, but it's so applicable to everyone, because again, running is such a metaphor for life, and we grow through the challenges, right? I know I say for myself all the time that running has become this space where if I can make it through a hard workout, if I can get it done before taking my kids to school, then I've learned something about myself. And that something is that I can do hard things and I can continue doing hard things. And it's totally okay. I may fail, but you know what? It's good. Time is going to keep on going. What do you feel have been the greatest lessons you've learned about yourself from running Pen and Paces?
Yeah, I think every day is a new lesson, but so far I would say that um, although I like to grow and gain new skills, I am very uncomfortable with certain things like marketing and talking about myself. And I think that has really taught me and made me reflect on why that is. I do have like a small business coach, shout out to Kirsty. She pushed me and she said like, I started writing and doing newsletters and she's like, your writing is very bland. And, I don't see anything about you in your writing. You need to like talk about yourself. And, you talk about a big game about, personal growth, but I don't see any of that out there in your marketing. And so she's really pushed me to talk about, my journey, myself, my products, why I do all the products, why are my designs like they are, in my writing, in my marketing, and in my Instagram and things like that. And it's really pushed me outside of my comfort zone. And that's really been a big kind of revelation about like, about myself and how I would run this business, and it's a big learning for me.
That is, I feel you. I very much so. I'm like, can't I just show up? Like, can't I just show up? Do I have to tell people to show up? Like, that's where for me it gets really uncomfortable, where I'm like, oh, I have to tell people I'm doing this again. And what if I had someone tell me the business principles of, well, especially now with Instagram, right? Like people may not even see what you're doing, but also people need to see things several times before they commit to buying. So you have to keep showing up, keep promoting, keep putting it out there.
Yeah, repeating yourself. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so hard. It was, I had an experience last year with the retreat. So I do this one retreat every September, or at least, this is my third September doing it. And no lie, I would promote it weekly. Weekly, there was a post or there was something in my story weekly. And I'd say probably a month before the retreat, I had someone reach out to me and they're like, I didn't know you were doing this. And I'm like, where were you the past 6 months? Where was it? But that for me was the learning of, even though I think I may be annoying or overwhelming, chances are I probably am not, because people haven't seen it at all. So how have you learned to work around that though?
Yeah, I think it's very small steps. Like I mentioned, I'm very uncomfortable talking about myself and even like showing up in like reels and things like that. But it's funny, like I'll start by like doing a corner of my face and like my post. And it turns out people really like that. And so, that's how, you just kind of start with what you're comfortable with. And there are some certain guidelines around like how private you want to be, and you shouldn't cross those lines. That's your personal comfort level, your family comfort level, like that's something that you should hold true. And you just start with what you're comfortable, and you will make your brand around it. And so for me, I did some user research conversations with my customers, and one of them were like, yeah, I really like the kind of like quarter face posts that you do because it's so funny, and like and that's how I know it's Pen and Paces.
I love that. They're like, so this is definitely you, and it also is really like, it brings them joy. That's something that brings them joy. that also happens to be where you're comfortable right now, where you're like, okay, this doesn't, and I find that, at least for me personally, it is that balance of figuring out how much to share that I'm comfortable with, and not so much like the comfort zone, just comfortable. So I like, for me personally, I always like, a running joke in my household is that everyone probably thinks I'm divorced or not married because I never share anything about my husband, and he's there for all this stuff. Like, you know, he's usually not anymore because my kids are older, but it's like, he would be the one to take a lot of these pictures. Now my kids are older, so I ask them to do it. But it is interesting when there are blurred lines between you, the business, and then you.
Absolutely.
And it's hard because we are like I shared for myself, I'm more likely to buy from someone when I know who they are, when I've seen them. So when that you, the business, and you is, they're a little more parallel to one another, but I know not everyone is comfortable with that. So being where you are now, obviously you're still growing, you're still learning.
Yep.
What words of advice or words of encouragement do you have for the women that are coming up behind you?
Absolutely. I would say be true to yourself. You know, I do think that your words that you just said about, you know, comfort level rings so true. It's like, you need to strike a balance of putting yourself out there, but don't compromise what you and your family are about. Because if you're compromising that, I think it becomes not fun. You'll get burnt out. You'll kind of feel, you know, just not true to yourself. So that's never a good place to be. But also, you know, don't, you know, be you. You know, for me, like I spent, you know, so much of my life kind of not being curious about this part of me, and then all of a sudden this became out, like pen and paste became such a big part of my life, and it's so joyful. And you know, to think if I could have started this earlier, this joy and satisfaction could come out way earlier. So be you. You know, do things that bring you joy, and you know, things might take time, but that time will be well worth it.
And ain't that a metaphor for running too? Right?
Absolutely.
Like, that's such a metaphor for running, of just show up, trust the process,
Yeah.
put in the work, and it'll come together one way or another. And I'm curious because this is a future focused question. I am of the belief that marathons change us. And because again, you know, it requires so much time, it requires so much effort, it requires a lot of life sacrifice, right? Like I often give the example of, because I run long on Saturday, Fridays, I'm just not around. Like my family will stay up and watch movies together and have popcorn and all this stuff. And by 8:30, I'm starting to check out. So when I'm in marathon training, I miss out on Fridays. I miss out that Friday family time. So it really does change. The rhythms of life change. But every time I cross a marathon finish line, something within me cracks open. I've discovered something new about myself, or I I learned that I could really work through the suck very well of a race. So I'm curious, how do you see, based on where you are now, 6 weeks out from your Chicago Marathon, how do you see yourself being changed by this race? And then how do you see that bleeding into pen and paces?
Absolutely. I think about this a lot because this training cycle has been very challenging in terms of, you know, balancing my new life with the baby, and, you know, and then just scheduling, etc. I think it's going to change me for the better. And my vision is that it's going to empower me to tell me that I can be a new mom, plus be the runner that I used to be, or a new type of runner, right? And maybe not the runner I used to be, but an even better runner, right? A smarter runner, and be a good mom, which, it's another kind of dimension, and another conversation for another day. Plus a business owner, which is all very new to me. And so it's going to even propel me even more, to kind of pursue this mission of empowering women in running and creating new products that are delightful to look at and useful for runners, and just a joy to use.
I love that because again, it's the parallels of you as the business, but you as you, and how they really weave into one another. Are you ever, because I see other companies do this, obviously you don't have to do this, but would it be possible, like somewhere down the pipeline, for you to create like race specific stickers? Is that something that interests you? Like, and I asked for me specifically, I asked for me, especially with something like the World Marathon Majors, right? Where a lot of people are working on the 6 stars. And I'm right now just envisioning like how you have, and I took out my Florida sticker. I'm like, I have it here, but I'm envisioning even you creating, and I'm just, whether you've thought of this or not, or I'm putting it out there, or I'm like putting something on you that you're like, yeah, I'm not interested. But I'm like, wait, I can totally imagine. And I don't think anyone's done it, but like what you did with the states, but have that do with the World Marathon Majors, right? Where it's like something to represent each of those races, where again, I'm being purely selfish with this question of like, oh, I would love to have that map, a map, but not really a map, but of those 6 races. And I'd be just curious as to like, if that's something you've found any interest in, or you think like your community of runners would be interested in?
Wholeheartedly would love to do something like that. Ultimately I would love to partner with kind of Abbott, the World Marathon Majors organization, or, the Boston Marathon organization. So if you're listening out there, I'm open. But yeah, absolutely. I am open to all those ideas. I loved, kind of doing my rendition of the maps, and creating kind of running related stickers. So race specific stickers would absolutely be a joy to create if the opportunity came up, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I was just like, I'm just, just gonna throw it out there. Maybe that's the one that we put out into the universe of like,
Yes.
hey, can we get you to to partner with one of these races?
Absolutely.
Because it does. And it makes me smile when I see this. It makes me smile when I hold it. All my stickers are, they're memories. I don't know, for lack of a better word, but it's like I see the stickers and it brings me back to a feeling.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. Again, like the Florida one, where I just picked a random mystery pack and you put this in there. And when I saw it, I was like, I am a Florida runner. Like, yes, I complain about it all the time, but it was just something very small where I felt like you saw me as a person, you saw me as a runner. So I just love what you're creating, love what you're putting out there for people. And I'm going to ask you, I have 2 more questions for you.
Sure.
And this question that I have for you is, I usually ask it about inclusivity and bringing more people into the running community, but I'm going to kind of flip that on you a little bit, because empowerment is so important to you and to your company, and it is embedded in your creations. And it's, how can we go about building a greater sense of empowerment in women so that they do feel comfortable coming into running, coming into taking up space as runners, that confidence, that empowerment of like, I'm going to go to that run club even though I don't know anyone, or I'm going to go into that running store even though I don't know what people are talking about, or I'm just going to show up. How can we do that? What do we need to do to cultivate that?
Absolutely. That's a really great question. And I'm very involved in the local run club here in my community. And I think it's two-part, right? One part is what we already have talked about. It's the brands, the businesses, the community members repeating themselves, saying, hey, you should come to this run. If you're interested in running, if you're a beginner, if you don't know how to run, if you want to walk, come meet people. Just continuing to say that message over and over until you're blue in the face because somebody just didn't hear you the first time, and just because you think you're repeating yourself, everybody in the world has not heard your message. And so I think that that's a message to the creators and the community builders and the organizations out there to just continue saying those things, because someone out there, didn't see your Instagram post, didn't read your email, they're too busy. There's a billion other things out there that they're reading as well. So I think you need to continue to say that message over and over again. And that's something that, we do in our community as well. And then on the other side of it, right, because it's a two-way street, is the people. It's like, put yourself out there a little bit. You might feel real weird at first, or it might not go the best way at first, but I promise you it will be something good eventually, where if you join a run club or just learn about running, or just put a sneaker on and just go run by yourself, and see if you like it. I think that is just a growth and personal, growth that you can embark on. And that, I think, is always a great pursuit.
Yeah. And I'm going to piggyback off of what you said and just add, y'all, don't stop at one run club, at one running store. And I say that because in my experience, I've had people who, and I mean, it's happened to me too, where I'll go to a run club and either people are too fast for me and no one slows down, or people are too serious. And that's just not my vibe. I like to talk, I like to chit chat, I like to have fun. Yep. And if I were to have let those experiences discourage me, I wouldn't be the runner that I am today. So that's my little piggyback off of what you said of if you go into one community and it just doesn't feel good, or you don't find people that are like you or people that are supporting you in the way you want to support, keep looking, because there is, and I've said this before, I say it all the time, we are all just one connection away from absolutely falling in love with this sport. Just one connection. All you need is that one connection to bring you in. So I love what you said. And I just want to thank you for sharing that, because again, I feel like now that I'm trying to think back to how long I've followed you, and I'm like, wait, she does share so much more, at least in your stories. You do share so much more. It's the Falmouth Run Club. Is that no?
So the Harbor Run Club is the
Run Club. Okay. Because I'm thinking, wait, yeah, she really has been sharing more of her running and of you joining the run club and whatnot. So I feel like most people, or if not, it's just me, but the stories is kind of the static posts on Instagram are the business side of things. Exactly. And the stories is the personality
behind the scenes.
Yeah. So that's why I'm wait a minute, now that I'm thinking of your Instagram account, I feel maybe since you started training for Chicago, you've been sharing so much more of your track workouts, of you going out with the run club. And I mean, I appreciate that, because I feel we just need to see, a big part of it is, if you don't see it, you don't think it's for you. Right. Exactly. Right. So if someone is seeing you out there doing a track workout, they're going to be like, oh, okay, let me see what this track stuff is. Or if someone sees you out there sharing in your stories about a run club, they might be like, okay, let me go check. There might be someone in your community that's watching your stories and is on the fence, but because you share about it and you show how much fun you're having, they're like, okay, I'll give it a try. And
sometimes it's about those little details, right? Oh, it's just showing up and just saying hi, and it's not about, the kind of big speed races. It's just about kind of just showing up and, kind of on your normal Sunday mornings.
Yeah, it absolutely is. All right. Final question. I just dropped my pen. Final question that I have for you is, you've got Chicago coming up. You just launched your sweater. What else is down the pipeline that you can share with us that we can start celebrating you in?
Thank you. That's awesome question. Thank you so much for the support. So I did have a sneak peek a little while ago. I am coming out with a belt bag that says "Run Outside." So I'm going to be launching that in the next couple weeks. And then the holiday season is around the corner, which is crazy. So I'm preparing for that. I have a bunch of ornaments coming out and cards for the holiday season. And then, of course, my gift sets are really popular around this holiday season. But I'm also right now designing a sneaker travel bag. So look out for that. I'm very excited for it. And I'm hoping to launch that before the holidays.
Okay, that is very exciting. So by the time this comes out, people will be like, oh, yes, that is the stuff that she's been working on. That's so exciting. Can you just remind us where we should go to find out more about you and the store?
Absolutely. So my website is penandpaces.com. I am on Instagram at Pen and Paces. So follow me. I post a lot of stories, like you mentioned, and I'm doing a lot more reels with, maybe half my face. I'm trying to be more creative with that. So I'd love to hear from the community and feedback for my products.
I love it. Cindy, it was such a pleasure talking to you about running and Pen and Paces and just your message or your mission of empowering women through your creativity is something that really, really does speak to my heart. Again, very different. I use yoga and retreats as my creative outlet. But I can still feel that. It still feel that what we create, the impact it has is beyond the creation itself. So I just want to thank you for all that you're doing, all that you're creating. And I'm just going to turn it to you. Do you have any final words for us?
Well, thank you so much for having us. It's my pleasure. And it was great speaking with you, Stephanie.
All right, everyone. Till the next episode. Bye.
Bye.